Hey, Cherlyn.
Hi,
Hey.
how
Um,
are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. Did you have a good holiday?
I did. Did you?
Yes, I did. I'm just really, really tired.
Can't say I'm not glad it's over, but
Yeah,
I had a good one.
I kind of feel like that too. Hey, Brooke. Hey, Courtney. Hey, Michelle. So, hey, Sherry Ann. So, you guys are going to be, hey, Maui Girl. Hey, Amanda. Hey, Becca. So, this one's going to be public later. So, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to get started pretty quickly. Teresa's passing out the link to everybody who needs it. I just want to make sure that I think I've got mine. Let's see. Just want to turn this down. I think there's only one other person. Teresa is passing that out right now, you guys. That's why she's frozen. Hey, Samantha. Hey, Brittany. Hey, Kristen. All right, let me get this link real quick. And I think we've got it everywhere. And I've been trying to cram with the holidays and everything, and then having my sister in town. I was trying to stay up and read all of it. I am almost all of the way done. I was trying to sneak it in between, doing all the Christmas stuff. But let's see. All right, we got that. All right. All right. So you guys know that we promised that Cherlyn would be back after the book dropped, and the book dropped right before Christmas. So I don't know if any of you guys have had a chance to read it yet. I know that it's been kind of a busy time, but hey, Sarah. But we figure what we'll do is we'll go ahead and ask her a couple questions ourselves. And then as we talked about, we're going to open it up to you guys to ask her a few questions as well. So let me make sure when Teresa gets back, pretty sure she's just making sure everybody has it. Turn that off. You've got your tea and cookies. I have not eaten all day. I am starving. Hey, Gary. Oh, Angela, you just finished the book last night? Yeah, I was speed reading it and over the holidays. Hey, Mimi. Okay, I think as soon as Teresa gets back, that means everyone has it who needs to have it, and we'll get started. I like doing it better this way. And I know that they've been anxious to ask you some questions. All right. And then, sorry, you guys, of course, it wouldn't be us if we didn't have Wi-Fi issues at the beginning. But we got Cherlyn has a strong signal now, and we're all good. We just had to go in and out a bunch of times, but I think we're good. I'm definitely ready for the new year, Rebecca. More than ready. Cherlyn. And we'll get into all of that, Maui girl.
All right, I'm back.
Okay, got it?
Yep, I think we're good.
I think we're going a little faster than usual. Okay. And you can hear me okay now, Cherlyn?
I can hear you fine.
Oh, good. There's no delay either. We fixed all our problems.
Good.
All right. So we'll get started because I know that Cherlyn doesn't have as long as she did last time. Got something that she has to do later on tonight. Remember? So we're going to go ahead and get started. So I know for those of you who someone was just saying above that they read it and they were comparing it with the last one. And so just to answer everyone's question about that, what was in this one that was different than Letters from Christopher?
Well, I try to just update things as I go through. Somewhat, I had a lot of things I wanted to update, but there was some controversy, and my attorneys pulled it back a little bit, right up to the last minute. But the letters are in there of Christopher's, the ones that he wrote to me, and they speak for themselves. As far as I'm concerned, there's no question to me at all whether or not he's guilty. No one forced him in any way to write those letters. I know Kim had said, well, I told him he had to write things a certain way or I wouldn't put it in there in the book, but that's not true. I never told him at all. All I ever told him was, I want the truth. I want you to just to tell me the truth in the letters and not play any games. That's all I said to him. So he did. I thought he was pretty forthcoming, and the things that the reason why some of the letters are a little different is because when we would talk on the phone or in person, and he would say, add this to the letter or say this, and I would interject those into the letters. That's why I typed them out and put the things in it, and then the actual letters themselves are there. So there's a little bit of difference there, and that's the reason why.
And
Did he go ahead, sorry.
No, I was going to say, I was enjoying reading those because I refreshed my memory a little bit. And we'll touch on that. We were talking about that right before we came on, but with some of the current stuff that's out there as far as the 35C and stuff. But go ahead with yours first because we'll get there. Don't worry.
I was just wondering, like, did you guys talk about like which letters to specifically, like, did he say, put this information with this information, or was that just like, here, put this in there where you see fit, or like, how did those conversations go? Do you know what I mean?
Well, yes. And most of the time he would say, he would tell me something, and then he would say, like, for instance, put that in March 5th letter, or put that in May 22nd letter. He knew exactly which letters he wanted them in. And so I tried to abide by that as much as I could. There was, a controversy between him and I because of him killing the girls, as he put it, the second time. He thought maybe I shouldn't put that in there. And I told him, I would have to decide what I felt like I should do. And I tell you, I spent so much time going back and forth with what should I do with that? Should I tell it all or should I hold it back? And I was advised by my publisher, my editors, the attorneys to put it out there. And so that's what I did. And
if I remember right, that's the letter that he says at the beginning, something along the lines of, I'm not sure if God wants this in the letters or in the book. But I'm not gonna quote it obviously because I don't remember it off the top of my head, but he says something like, I'm not sure if God wants this in the book, but I'm gonna give it to you to decide, or basically
yeah, right. So there was never anything hidden from Christopher. He knew everything that was in that book, everything. And in fact, I had a faith-based publisher that came to me and was willing to look at the book and publish it through the Christian base. And in talking to Christopher, we decided that he wanted his testimony out there. He wanted his forgiveness to be out there that people could see. And so we decided that to do that, we needed to go mainstream. And so he was even part of the decision to go mainstream publishing and not to try to keep it with a Christian-based agency or anything. So I don't know.
So,
the rumors are just.
One thing that I found very intriguing, and you can tell me if my dates are off. So he was interviewed by Baumhover and Tammy Lee and what's the other one? I can't even think. Kobach. They all went back there in February. You had written a letter to him, and you can tell me if the date is wrong, but I think it was like February 19th.
Well, I had actually wrote a couple before that, but it was a February 19th letter that got to him. He didn't get one of them.
So this is why I find this interesting, and this is my own theory, so you can take it for what you want. But he says in the interview with them that, they asked, like, do you want us to tell your parents what happened? And he says, no, like, I want to tell them myself. And then you write him this letter on, I believe it's February 19th, and he writes you back, I think on March 3rd or March 5th. And he says basically, like, let's do this. Like, let's go ahead and do this. And this is right around the same time that obviously all the recordings and everything had come out of his interview with law enforcement. And now he's writing to you with even more details than he gave to them. So it's some of the same details, but it's even more details than he gave to them, saying, And then he tells his family, like, you need to read the book if you want to know what happened. Like, it's in the book. It's in my letters. It's in my letters. So what I find very interesting about this is that the timing of it really lines up when he says, I want to tell my family myself. He gets this letter from you and he says, let's do it. You can write my story. And then he tells his family, like, the answers are in the letters that I gave to Cherlyn. You have to read the book.
Right.
That to me is bigger than a lot of the other parts of what people are talking about. That's a big deal.
It is a big deal. And let me tell you how that came down. At the time, Cindy had never been told everything that happened. So you have to realize from August until this interview with the FBI and the police department, he had never told his parents what happened. So they were still believing, according to Cindy, they still believed that Shanann killed the girls. And why did Christopher plead guilty to killing the girls when he said he didn't kill the girls? So then Cindy started questioning me. What is he telling you? What did he say? What's he telling you? What's he writing to you? What's going on? He's telling you more than he's telling us. And then Christopher told his mother, you need to just read the book, because he couldn't tell them. He couldn't stand to tell them what had happened. And that's why his platform of writing the letters was the most comfortable to him. Or when he talked to me, it was one-on-one. He didn't have to be, on stage, so to speak, to talk about these things. It was one-on-one, or it was writing it down in letters. That's what was his personality. He's very antisocial, very withdrawn, and it's not easy for him to talk about, and especially not to talk about these things. So,
which makes sense though, because Shanann asked him to write a letter about how he felt and what he wanted to do. So she left him a letter when she went to Arizona, and then said for him to write a letter. So it seems that she obviously knew that he was able to express his emotions and feelings in writing, and able to write, and to do that in writing versus actually having the conversations, verbally.
Yes. Yes.
So it makes it, I don't know. So that timing to me just really puts into perspective, like, this was his truth. This is what he wanted out there as his truth. That's why I said, even on our last interview, the letters were extremely powerful to me because of that timing and why he wanted it written down and out in the world.
Right.
I think so, because, when he first started talking with me and writing me and stuff, and I went to visit him almost right away, it was really difficult for him to say, but he found a comfort level with me. And I think that was a lot. I know Cindy used to say, I think he looks at you as a mother. He's the age of one of my children. So it's like, I think, came across as a mother figure to him. And when I started talking with him, I did care about Christopher. It's a horrible story. It's a horrible thing to think a normal functioning man with a family and a job and all this could go so totally off track. It didn't make sense. In a short time, I started realizing there's some real issues here. He's got some real head issues. He does not want people to think bad of him. He couldn't stand it when he was told that people referred to him as a monster. He told me that the day in the courtroom, when I believe it was Frank that called him a monster, he said he just couldn't stand it. He could not stand being called that because he doesn't feel like he is that. He can tell you he murdered his family, and in the same sentence tell you he doesn't look at himself as a murderer because he would never do it again. So that was his truth. And this was raw at that time. When I spoke with him for the first time and he started talking, it was all very, very soon. It was only 4 to 5 months after the murders. It was all very raw. He had not been at Dodge for very long when I talked to him. So, I believe very much that those letters are the truth, the closest we're going to get to the truth.
And for those of you just joining us or that haven't had a chance to read it yet, one of the things we were talking about before we went live that we found really interesting is if you look at the timing, like Teresa was just saying, and you're looking at April of 2019, and with the things that are out now because of the KK channel and the 35C, he writes in there, and I know there's been a lot of conversation about what Tammy Lee did or didn't do, or what they didn't know he was coming, or he didn't know the FBI, CBI was coming. All of those excuses that we've heard over and over about why he said the things that he did in the second confession. In those letters, if you read them in his own writing, which he chose to write, he makes a point to say that when they came up, he wanted to clear the air about Shanann and that she did not kill the girls, that he wanted to clear the air about all of that because there was so much confusion. And he makes it a point to say that. And I think that's important because I think, like we've talked about so many times, Teresa, we get bogged down in so much of the side drama and the circus that we forget, basic things like that. Like that when he wrote you the letters, he was very clear in the fact that he wanted to set the record straight about that.
Yeah, he never mentions, I only told those guys that, Cherlyn, because they wouldn't leave if I didn't. I had to give them something. He never says stuff like that in those letters. He says, I wanted to do it. I wanted to tell him.
Yeah, I mean, there's some things he held back, but he shared those with me, and he was surprised by them showing up. But his main thing was to clear Shanann's name. And so people out there who still think that he's innocent, and even his mother, they have to realize this makes it, and I told his family this before, it makes it very difficult for him when he is trying to tell the truth, but they keep telling him, no, you didn't do it. You could not have done this. And so how can he in any way move forward if they won't move forward, or if people won't believe what he's trying to say? So I think
because he won't say it to them. And so there's always this clouded, oh yeah, he may have told Cherlyn that, or he may have told somebody that in a letter, but he's never said it to us. And so until he says it to us, we're not going to believe it. And there's part of me that's
he wrote it down.
Like, as a mom, I kind of would feel the same way. Like, I don't want to believe that. Yeah. So if I can find any excuse that it's not true, then I'm going to go with that probably.
Absolutely, you wouldn't want to believe it. But he wrote it down, and someone had said, that he never had given them a written confession, but he has.
Right.
He has a written confession there. And I think it was one of my Facebook group people that had said that, he has a written confession now. So I don't think that the narrative of, I didn't kill the girls is going to help him any. It's not going to help his family any. And it just makes things more confusing. And unless he wants to be a celebrity, I'm not sure why he would do it. He already is a celebrity to a certain extent. So,
well, if you look up anything on Family Annihilators, Chris Watts is typically the number one that people know about.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So he's got some form of infamy.
And we'll be talking about it 20 years from now. I mean, it'll still be there, just like the Bundy case or, some of those. We'll still be talking about it.
I just did one of my whole documents that I had to write for class. I just did on Jeffrey Mcdonald from the 70s. Mm-hmm. So
McDonald?
Jeffrey Mcdonald from North Carolina killed his wife and two pregnant wife and two daughters.
Yeah, he was a doctor. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because he was Green
I remember that case. Yeah, I remember that case. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the 70s. So look, that's 50 years ago, still talking about it.
Right. Jeffrey Dahmer. I mean, we've got a lot of them. We're filled with true crime stories right now. There's so many things I can't even believe. The true crime stories that's out there. Watching one last night, that Joel Guy Jr. that killed his parents.
Yeah. That one's rough. That one's a rough
gruesome story. Oh, can't believe it. Yeah.
So I guess when Chris says he can't believe he's referred to as a monster, maybe it's because he's comparing himself to somebody like Joel Jr. Joel Guy.
Or comparing himself to what he used to be. I think,
That's true.
He looks at himself as a normal person at one time, and you can't, there's a breakdown somewhere. I believe, in my own opinion, in his childhood, there was a breakdown. Because if you follow these true crime stories, that's where it begins with these psychopaths and sociopaths is in their childhood. So we don't know what that is, but that's just my own opinion.
Yeah, and we've talked a lot about that. What was he really the normal dad, the good dad everyone has been, repeating that he was, or was it a facade? And there was something brewing for a long, long time. That's, I think, the interesting question that we keep going around and round and round. That's the part
He
that's
held it inside.
Yep.
He held it inside, but it was in his thoughts. He had the thoughts there to do this. So that's not normal.
No, but I agree. I've really come to the conclusion that this was inside of him for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was the pressure of trying to suppress the real self that exploded, or if this was just, brewing constantly and there's more to the background story. I don't know.
Honestly, that's probably one of the reasons why he won't get a psychiatric evaluation. I don't think he wants that to come out. I think it's been there for a lot longer than people know, a lot longer than his family knows, and he doesn't want that to come out.
I'm also
So
very
he won't.
curious to know if his defense team actually gave him a psych evaluation, and that's what the HIPAA actually was that they closed.
I was told no. I was told no by his mother, his sister, and by him, that he never received an evaluation.
But if he received a diagnosis that he didn't want anybody to know about, he's not gonna tell anybody. We know that.
Exactly. He has the right. Yeah, he has the right to keep that to himself. Yeah.
Right. But I agree with Teresa. We've talked about this a lot. I think that it's been there. Who knows what happened in his past or his childhood, but I agree that he was probably pushing this down, and it might have been slipping out in little ways here and there, and there might have been little cracks, and then this happened.
Right.
And I know there are so many questions about certain topics. Of course, we always get the NK questions, and we got some of those before. So in this book compared to the first book, did anything differ with NK as far as, how you had felt beforehand? Of course, we'll get to the 4th of July part, but as far as, I don't know, her influence or any of that, did any of that change?
Well, it did to some extent, and I've made the comment that I believe that she was part of it, but what I think people either they take it wrong or whatever, but I feel very sure that NK had a huge influence on what he did. Now, I don't believe she said to him, "Go kill your family." I think that she went around things in a very different way. I think she gave him ultimatums. I think she gave him, "I love you, I want to give you the first this and that. I want to be part of your life, and I want you to leave your wife," and all of that. And I think she had no idea at the time probably that she was influencing him to kill his family. But maybe she did. I don't know for sure. My own belief is that she did not realize what she was doing, but that it played a huge part in what he did. And for a long time, I just didn't know what to think about these videos that they're showing with walking out of the garage, thinking that it was her, and the red car, and just different things like that. It seems so convincing. But in talking with him and just like really pinning him down to this, he tells me no, no, no. But then again, he told me there are things he will take to his grave. So I'm back to square one. Was she there that night? Did she have a part in this? Who was in the basement? It's as confusing for me at times as it is for all of you guys, because I've only got so much information to go on too. And so it can only be that can only be my guess. But I do know that the case isn't closed. And I do know that there are some things that will be coming out. And I think it'll be a shock to people. I think that people will be surprised to see who all has been involved in some different areas. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I was working my way down to those questions because I know we took a lot of the most popular questions that we were being asked over and over and over again to touch on. And so definitely getting there. So I'm going to put a pin in that for just a minute because I want to get done with NK first, of course. But
okay.
So as far as talking about her. And I agree with you. I think it does get confusing. I think that there's a lot we've seen that can point you one way and then you see something else and you're constantly second guessing yourself or getting new information so I completely understand what you mean by that.
Mhm.
But one question we got a lot was about the 4th of July. And I know we touched on that a little bit in the first interview, but was that something that he had talked to you about, or that was in your notes, or the 4th of July part when they met?
Oh, that was in my notes. He had told me that at some point back at the beginning. And I mean, it was said like, he didn't say it in a way like this is when we started seeing each other. It's just that he was telling me that he introduced her to Shanann. And, which is creepy for a woman to think that, that he would have walked up to, or she would have walked up to him and his wife, and he would have introduced her. And here, this is a woman that he's having an affair with. Whether they were at the time or not, I don't know. I kind of have a feeling they were. But then I had someone on Facebook send me her theory, and I thought the theory was extremely convincing, that they went to the same gym together back around that time in 2017, I believe. Maybe when Sandy and Frank were staying at their house or something, and Christopher couldn't work out downstairs, and he joined a gym, but that NK belonged to that same gym. So did they actually meet there? It seems very likely that that could be where they met, is at the gym. That's way before, a year before she started working at Anadarko. So again, those are just theories and thoughts. It's not something we know for sure, other than that he did introduce her to Shanann in 2017.
There's some interesting things about the gym that I know have caught our attention. Some things that we saw in Discovery with the second batch of files. There's definitely some interesting things with the gym. Because I live here, I've been trying to kind of map out what would make sense and what wouldn't. But there's definitely something with the gym I just haven't put my finger on. I know we've talked about this, Teresa, so many times.
Well, they did. They have like that little Post-it note that talks about like getting the surveillance from the gym. On like what was the date? June
27th.
June 27th, like the day, the day after Shanann left for North Carolina. So there's definitely something with the gym. The gym thing is interesting though, because we know where her gym was at the time of the murders, but we don't know if she had a different gym prior, because the gym where during the time of the murders would not make sense for Chris to be a member there, because there's multiple that are closer to work and to home. But we don't know if it's the same gym because it's a year prior. So
right.
May not be something that we could ever put our finger on, but at this point, I think anything's a possibility.
Right. And it may not have anything to do with anything, but I do think if they went to the same gym together, she's, as we've seen in all of the videos and different things we've seen her in, she's extremely flirtatious and putting herself out there as sexy and, wild and do anything type person. I think, that's just the way I look at her.
Yes.
Yeah. Being nice.
Yeah,
I'm being nice.
Yeah, very much. She's just very free. Yeah, very free soul. She is.
That's a wonderful term to use.
Yeah.
So I think that's interesting too. I do, and that's something that still bothers me. But so when you were talking to him about NK, how open was he about that? Did he seem kind of closed off and protective of it, or was he pretty open with it?
He was very open, and he was very open about his feelings for her. He gave me, the one Bible scripture, which I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's in the book. And he said, read that Bible scripture, and that tells you who she is. Well, that story is actually about a prostitute, and so when questioning him about it, he was saying, well, that's her mindset. That's her frame of mind as far as how she acted and how she was. And there's an evilness in her. But then the very next second, he would say that he still loved her. And he really hoped that she would reach out, and that he hoped that she would try to reach him in some kind of code or something. And so he was still, after everything he had been through, after killing his family, he could sit and tell me that he still felt a love for her. That tells me that either she had a strong hold on him in his mind, or he was just deep, deep in love with her. I don't know, but he was very forthcoming and open about her and the things that they did and the places they went. And I had to be blushing at times because that's weird things to hear,
Right.
from someone. And it's just like, okay, it's a lot of information to be sharing. But yeah, he was very open, almost proud of it, I would have to say. He told me himself he had never had a person flirt with him and come on to him before. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. But he said he had never had, but that she pursued him. And that was something that really turned him on, is that she pursued him. So, and I believe that. I do believe that she was the one that pursued him.
I believe that too.
She's very aggressive.
She's very free. She's very free. She's willing to do a lot of things in life.
Free.
Right. Yeah. She has no ties. So if she hurts somebody by taking their husband away, well, big deal. It doesn't hurt me. You know what I mean? It's just that mindset. It becomes a game after a while. And I think possibly it was some sort of a game with her to see if she could get him away from his family. Because she wasn't willing to take it slow.
No, I've always felt like those Google searches and the checking on them and finding out everything that he liked or what he was interested in or being different than the wife it was like a planned, maybe not like a written out plan, but it was like that's what her mind was doing, was trying to figure out like, how am I going to get this guy and be the winner, and the ultimate price was everybody else died. I don't know if that was her intention. I think she just wanted to win. I
do too, at all cost. And if she was just a little bit shocked maybe as to how far he was willing to go with that. But, I think she was going to do it come hell or high water. She was going to take him from his family. So, when we get into the mind control or the some of the religious stuff that she practiced or some of that, I mean, how far was she able to go with that? I don't know, but I do know that he could look at me and tell me that something was in him during that time that he never felt like he had in him before. Now, whether or not whatever it was that was in him was woke up, maybe it's always been in him, but it became more aggressive because there was something he really wanted. I don't know how far I can take believing in the demonic spirit. That sounds like that we're blaming it on something else again. However, I do feel like, I do think there's evil spirits. I think if we can say there's a God and there's good spirits, there has to be evil and bad spirits, kind of. And I do think something came over him, but I think his mind had to be open to it and ready for that in order for it to take hold of him. So...
yeah, he had a conscious choice no matter what. And he made the conscious choice to do the bad instead of the good.
Yes.
So
several
I think
times.
that's, I mean, we all have that opportunity in life to make a choice that could, either, put us on the right side or the wrong side. And I think he liked living on that other side and just thought it was more freeing and more fun.
It was fun.
And noticed, all the things that she could do and she was able to do without the commitments. And he thought, well, I can do all that too.
Right. And, her sexual desires were very free and wild, and something maybe he really desired. I mean, everybody has their thing, I guess. And some of that was his thing and she was willing. I don't think Shanann was, my opinion is Shanann wasn't quite that free with everything.
I think there's a big difference between the mom that's been married for 8 years with a couple kids, another one on the way, versus Freebird that likes to go naked camping and, worship Mother Earth.
And show off her body all the time. And, I mean, there's a big difference there. So.
Well, yeah, I agree. And, we've talked about this before also, but he seems to be a lot like a sponge. Whoever he's with is who he's like. And who knows? We can go back and guess a million times, but had he been with a different woman, had he been with a different personality type, would that have happened? Or were they just two of the, bad personality types that got together and it ended? And that's what he means by the dark. Maybe she was a darker person and he seems to absorb every personality that's around him.
That's true. That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
But then here's the thing is that he cannot have the confidence to say that he would never do this again.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. And that's what, I said to him, you can believe it right now that you would never do that again. But if you were out and you can't, Shanann's gone, your wife is gone, you come across the right person, could you do this again? Personally, my belief is absolutely he could do it again.
Yeah, and 10 years before he did it, I don't think he's going to say, hey, I would never do that. I mean, he's not going to be like, oh, yeah, in about 10 years, I'm going to go ahead and kill everybody in my family. He's going to say, I would never do something like that. I love my family.
Exactly. And he's used to being told what to do by a woman. And that is something, that's his comfort zone. He needs to be told what to do. And that's important to him that there's someone there to back up his decisions, to tell him, he's doing the right thing. Now try this, do this, do this. He didn't think on his own.
And the stronger personality of the woman is going to ultimately catch his ear. NK was a stronger personality than Shanann. She was more, in his ear. And then here you go. Now you have Chris doing what she wants. And now if you look at the situation now, the people who he's quote unquote removing are not the ones that are the stronger, pushy, you're going to do it this way, you're going to do it that way. The ones that he's backing are.
Right. I swear we share the same brain, Teresa. That's exactly where I was just going. She always gets, we have like the same thoughts in this.
You must say something that like triggers it in my head, and I'm like, ooh, I'm going to steal that idea as quick as I possibly can.
That was my thought, was just that I think, going back to that, that's an excellent point. I think it was a facade of a freedom he was getting with NK. I do not believe, I think that was, he was jumping from the, what did I say, frying pan or whatever, into the flame. I think that was going to, did I say that right?
I think so. I don't know.
You did.
I'm not sure. But you get my drift. So I think, you know what I'm saying? I think that she was giving that out, just like we talked about, the cool girl. She was going to be this but I think that was all a facade. I think once he jumped over there, I think he was going to realize that she was going to have a much tighter leash and much just more controlling person. That's just my opinion. But I think it was all BS.
Yeah, I do too. And I think that he liked it because she knew how to control him in that way, with making him feel like he was really important to her. He made a comment to me that Shanann had never asked him for his opinion on anything. She made the decision, that was it. And NK would ask his opinion. Well, she knew what she was doing with that. She could see that was something that he was eating up, I could see that in him just by asking him questions about the Bible when we would be talking, because he is very, very knowledgeable of the Bible. He has read it through, I don't know how many times, but he has great comprehension, and he can refer back to a certain scripture and recite it to you. And so I could tell that he really liked when I would ask him questions about the Bible or things like that. And so I learned really early on that had to be what she was doing when he told me that she would, care about what he thought about things. She picked up on it right away, and she used that as one of her, ways of controlling him.
Yep. I agree. So, okay. And then I know we had some big questions on the things that people were talking about. We touched on a few of these. As far as, I know you don't like this term, I'm trying to think of a different one. As far as maybe the bombshells, we could call it something else. The new information or the revelations, or
not revelations.
I don't like that term.
Not revelation.
Nope. Gosh, I need a different one now from that. Okay, so the new information.
Yes.
As far as so many. As far as Survey 319 that we talked about. So
okay,
can you elaborate on?
Yeah, let me first of all start out by saying the word bombshell was never my word. I did not start saying that. That actually came from another YouTuber who I was interviewing with, and that was the word that they used on their own. That was not my word. But I would really like for people to understand something. When I wrote the first book, um, there were things that were just like crazy huge for me that I was learning. And I think a lot of people, as they were researching the case, there's a lot of things that you learned that were very huge for you. I tried to put all of it in the book. Well, then the Netflix movie came out, and now we have a whole huge influx of people that were not with us 2 years ago on this
Mhm.
case. And so by putting the book out there, I tried to give everyone, literally, my attorneys call it a gift by giving everyone a copy of the letters. And so I tried to give all of the YouTubers that had been there for 2 years a gift of the letters because I wanted the people who had not been around for the 2 years to be able to read the story and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this man did this way. There are things that have changed along the way. And I'll say it again, I wanted to put all of them in the book. But anyone who has written a true crime story knows that you have your publisher, your editor, and your attorneys that call the shots for a lot of things. And so there are things I cannot talk about that I wish I could. I wish I could put all of them. And I was so frustrated at the end of writing this book. And you know, Vanessa, I came to you and I said, help me. What do I do here? And I feel like I can only put in the book what I have evidence to back up. There are things that I have been told that I know. There are some things maybe I have some evidence of, but not enough to put it in writing and then be wrong and have someone come after me. As it is, I've gotten, some death threats. I've gotten ugly emails, ugly phone calls. I don't want to go there. That's not what this is about for me. And so that's how that all, does that make sense? Am I making sense with you as the way I'm saying it is why some of those wow moments were held back. I just needed to be advised is what the best thing was to do. And so,
Yeah, there was a couple different ones. The one I was first was did you decide to remove anything about Survey 319 or about any of that stuff? Is that part of what you're saying? Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I'm accurate.
well, you are probably referring to Bella.
Yes.
Is that what you're referring to?
Yes.
That is something that I've had since before the first book. And I was going to put it in the second book. I had decided I'm doing it, I'm putting it in the book, that's it. And there are people that can tell you this is something I've known from almost the get-go. Okay. And believe it or not, my intentions were to try to tell the truth without hurting, especially Shanann's family, any more than they've been hurt. And that was something that I just felt was so awful and so ugly to think of that happening to that little girl that I didn't put it in the first book. There was a girl that came along that told me about a dream, but my goodness, that's been over a year ago. And her dream was half of the discovery. So one thing did not stick out to me more than another to say, oh, I'm going to talk about this, but I'm not going to say anything about this. That did not happen. It did not. If she had the dream without knowing all the things that happened, she was right on with discovery, with many, many things. But Christopher did not have time nor the strength to walk up the stairs or to smother Cece, walk up the stairs, take her and put her in the battery, come back down in the truck, smother Bella, fight with Bella, take her back up the stairs, take her to the other battery, and then have a difficult time getting her in the battery. And he did. He told me he had a very difficult time getting her in that hole. And So for him, the quickest way to do it was to take Bella by the hand and take her up the stairs to carry Cece. I believe Cece was, in my own belief, I believe Cece was brain damaged from the first time that he smothered her. I think she was somewhat lethargic, not quite there. And I think she did not fight him back when he tried to smother her. He said she just let him smother her. She didn't fight back. And this is hard to say and hard to hear, but it's the truth. And he took advantage of that baby and just very quick and smothered her. He put the girls in the tanks so they wouldn't wake up again. And that's something that is unfathomable for us to hear or to believe, but it's the truth. That's why he put them in those batteries. So,
yeah, it is. It is.
you know,
hard.
I don't have those things in a letter. But I do have them in notes that I wrote down, and I do have them in memory of the things that, were told. And I think that knowing that he killed them at 3:19 versus the house was the most important thing for everyone to know, in my opinion.
Well, what's confusing to me is he told different people different things. He told a couple people that they both died at the house. Then he told a couple people around that same time that Cece had passed and Bella didn't. And then, of course, we had the shadows. And so when he talked to you, he specifically said that they both died at the house. He didn't change it to
no, they both, he tried both at the house. They both woke back up.
Yep.
And then it was a nightmare, and then he took them to Servy and did it again, put them in the oil tank so they didn't wake back up again.
Mm-hmm. And that's in his letters. So what you have to realize too is that when he would sit and talk about this, he would fill in a lot of blanks. Or I would say, well, what about this? Or what about that? And then he would tell me that it all wasn't maybe necessarily in the letters, but those were the things that were hard for him to talk about. I mean, there's things you have to realize. Anytime someone wants to write a true crime story and they talk to the person that did the crime, you're going to hear things that you're not going to write down in a book. You're going to hear things that stick with you forever. They're just gruesome, awful things. And there's other things that he's told me, but I can't do that. I mean, I have a right to the things that I am willing to tell and not tell, it's different if I'm sitting before the FBI or something, but I don't have to put everything down in a book. And I'm sorry if anyone
that you're catching a lot of slack on the fact that it was the other YouTube channel says it's in the book, and then all of a sudden it's not in the book, and now you've got some girl with a dream, and it's it becomes, once again, the case becomes very convoluted because there's so many different aspects of it. At what point did you decide you were not putting that in the second book?
At the very, very end, before I signed off on the book. I just didn't know what to do. I went to a few different people and asked for, advice. What should I do about this? And I ended up doing what I was advised to do. And that doesn't mean I necessarily wanted to leave it all out. There are some things I would like for people to know. There are some things that need to be known, but I don't know if I'll be the one to ever tell them. But I can just tell you the case is not closed. There are things out there. And but the book that I was writing was a book about a man that killed his family. And you do know that from the book. Christopher did it. He did it himself. And this is how he did it. And I don't think there's going to be anything around that particular story that anybody's going to come up with any different, because the act of the murders themselves, he committed. I guess I'll leave it at that. It's
That's
convoluted.
Actually one of the questions that I actually wanted to ask was, I know there's when you were being interviewed by the other YouTuber, there was something did come up about, the whole having to take something to the FBI, and now there's the book comes out, and a lot of the commentary is that in the book you're stating that you believe he 100% did it alone. So people are back and forth, if he did it alone, then how are you taking something to the FBI? And it gets,
Right.
Yeah, and I get that. I get that, Teresa. But here, let me explain it this way. I
Perfect.
said in the book, I kind of gave a hint. I tried to kind of hint to some things. And I said, Christopher is not, and I stand on this, he is not the kind of person that can come up with this idea, think it through, do everything that he did, carry it out, all of it together as a package by itself. I believe the morning of the murders, he by himself killed the two girls and Shanann. I would stake almost anything on it. He did it. But everything else that surrounds it, I do not believe he totally 100% did by himself.
Okay, that
And
makes sense to me. That's one of the things that Vanessa and I, that's kind of how we had interpreted it,
Yeah.
but wanted to make sure that we let you say it, how you meant it out there so that it wasn't just us saying it.
right.
Yes. Yeah.
He physically is the one who murdered everybody, but you believe that there some innuendos and some, commentary about what needed to be done or how to do things, or
Right.
even just
Right.
the slight, one of the things I've always said is like NK could have easily said you got to get rid of your family, and he was like, all right, I
Right.
got to get rid of my family. Like, all right, then they're
Right.
gone. And it took it very
Right.
literal. And obviously, I don't know. I've never spoke to the man, so I don't know how he would interpret that. But I just always think back to the roasts and the things that like Shanann posted on Facebook about how he took everything so literal.
Oh, he
Yeah.
takes things very literal. It reminds me a little bit of someone that would be here from, I had a friend that was Indian, and one time I said something about, would you like to have a hot dog to eat? And she looked at me, this has been years ago, but she looked at me so funny, like, why would we eat dog? And I realized it was such a laugh point after that, because a hot dog to us is not eating a dog, it's eating, pork, it's eating a hot dog. But it's that literal, like the things
Right.
that you said, you have to be very specific not to be too literal in your speaking, because he would take you very literally. So yes, he's very much like that. And I hope that makes sense, what I'm saying.
It does. It makes sense. It makes sense to me. Like I said, I kind of interpreted it that way, but like I said, I haven't finished the book, so I hadn't gotten to the verbiage of how that particular part was written. So just coming across it and like being the comments in the groups, that's how I would have interpreted it. But like I said, I haven't read the verbatim yet, so it was hard for me to say. That's why I wanted to ask you, because you'll know.
And it's so hard for me because I'm a new author, and I'll admit I'm probably not the best author, but it's been hard for me because people are so cruel. And I don't understand that. I've never been one to try to be cruel to someone purposely. I just think what's the purpose? And it's not attractive to be cruel to people. It's not anything that anyone would want to look up to. But I've had people tell me that I'm not a good author, that I, made too many mistakes, that I did this, I did that. Well, the only thing I did, and I've apologized up and down for it, was the paragraph in the first book, which was a total accident, which I apologized for, and I paid for that. And I took the book down. Nobody else made me take the book down. I took it down because I felt like it was the right thing to do. But am I supposed to carry that the rest of my life and not do something that I've dreamed of doing because of that one mistake? Because that's what it was, is a mistake. And people just need to even back off from, the Watts family, the Rujek's family. Let people breathe. This case is not more important than your family, than your, let's put it in perspective a little bit and not be hateful and just mean to people over it. Or if they make the wrong comment, you let someone have it. I just,
no. I will always
fun.
stand by harassment is not ever okay. You should never be messaging somebody in their inbox and telling them what a horrible person you think they are. If you don't like them, stay away from them. Like it's very, very simple. If people don't want to read your book, nobody is like sitting them down and making them read it.
Right. And don't try to influence others, you know?
One hardship that you have is that the first book you chose to write, being a new author and not experienced, was that you chose a case that's covered in controversy from the beginning. And so you will have a hard road taking, to come out of that. And I don't think you'll have that in other cases. I just don't, because I haven't seen it in other true crime cases we follow. Most people, if they don't want to read a book, they just don't read it. They just go on. I've never written a book, so I can't sit here and critique any mistakes and things that you've done. Yeah, I do. There are mistakes, but why? That doesn't make you a bad author. You put a lot of time and a lot of work into doing it. For me personally, I think having a re-release of the first book was very important, because the information that needed to be out there in those letters, I think that's invaluable. The letters themselves are invaluable. His words explaining what he did. I don't know how people can take that away, but somehow it still becomes, this was added, that's added, this, that, and the other. Then I'm like, don't read any of that. Literally just read his letters and you'll still hear his story.
Right. But the whole story is everything that he said. I mean, some of the letters are 10 pages, 11 pages long. Right. But of course, when we got together or on the phone, we talked about this stuff. So I was very naive in thinking, well, if I just put it all down and tell everybody just in everyday plain English, because that's the way it was said between Christopher and I, then, they'll understand and it'll give them answers and it'll help people to come to terms with it. That's all I was trying to do. And I've been called everything from a money grabber, which is absolutely hilarious if you only knew, to somebody that just tried to hurt Shanann's family. That's just not me. And people shouldn't try to influence other people with bad words and bad things that you're saying about others. It's just, we're just all human beings trying to live a life and get through this. And I was so hoping to just do what's been done tonight, just start a conversation. Let's talk about this case. Let's talk about what's happened. Let's talk about the book, maybe read it online. And that was what I had hoped for this book to come out of this book. And it's just been turned into everything else. And I don't understand it, because there's like 10 other books out there about Christopher? Nobody else?
Well, I know that there's a lot that are like just the online Kindle version from another YouTube guy. That he's written a few, but I think actual books, there's the one fiction book, and then Daddy's My Hero, My Daddy, that right? And then there's The Perfect Father. Trying to think, and then the fiction book. Other than that, I don't think there is any. I think that those are the main books. Other people have written, I guess that you could call Nick's books, but I don't know if they really are.
Yeah. And the thing of it is those people aren't catching any flack. Those people aren't being hated and treated the way I have been. And that's because I have the truth. Theirs are just guesstimates as to what's happened. Everybody has their own theory or whatever. But I have his letters, what he told from his, like you said earlier, his truth as to what happened. And that's why I guess that I've had to put up with so much, is because it's the truth. So
I just think the whole case is covered in controversy. I don't think that there's any way to get around it. I mean, if you're part of the Chris Watts, social media or publication in any way, shape, or form, it will be drama. It's just, I don't know what it is. But there's so many different camps of people that, you still have people who believe Shanann did it. You have people who are adamant that Chris did it alone. You have people that are adamant that NK and Jimbo were around. I mean, everybody has their own beliefs. And I think that if anybody pushes something opposite, a lot of people get mad. And the ones of us that don't seem to catch, more slack, I think it is.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm just not going to listen to it all anymore. The negativity.
Exactly.
I'm tired of it beating me up and making me feel bad about myself. And I love people and I love to help people. And I'm not a bad person, regardless of who wants to point their finger. I'm not a bad person. I was told yesterday by one woman, just Google your own name if you don't think that you're like this, you know? And I'm thinking to myself, but it's people like you, that's why it's on Google like that, you know, not because it's something I
Girl, I don't
did.
need to. You're telling me everything that's on there right now.
Right. So,
I know.
Yeah.
It's a no-win situation because any mistake that you do make, it is a mistake, and it's going to be everywhere.
Right. And oh my goodness, how many people haven't made a mistake? You know, hey, if you're the first one, I'd love to see you. So
I'll turn my camera off then because I've made plenty.
So
All right, I'm sorry. I totally got off track with the questions. I know that Vanessa still had some more. I apologize. And I know we're taking up so much of your time, and I'm so sorry because I talk a lot.
No.
That's okay. I do too.
No, I've pretty much covered the ones that I really want to touch on. I know that we have to, I've seen, and I see a bunch of good questions and comments, and I want to get to some of their stuff too. But I think you touched on it really well, Teresa, with talking about for those of you who are joining us a little bit later, talking about Chris doing it by himself and what she meant by that, acting on his own. There's a lot of questions about the FBI statement. And then just to clarify, because I see it up here and I know it'll come right back around when we turn it over to them for questions. So, and I don't remember if you clarified it with Teresa. So you were saying that they told you there's an open investigation at this point, or is that what you were saying?
The actual words that were used is there are still things being looked at. It's not all closed. And I can't really talk about this stuff. It's not, I mean, I don't want to get in trouble over it. I could say something and then they find out that's not what happened. I could tell you what they think and then they find out, you know what I mean? That's just not it. So I'm really not comfortable with questions concerning the authorities. That's something they are working out. I happened to find out about it because I went forward with something that I know and I wanted to put it in the book. And I was told, don't put it in the book. This stuff is, you know, it's not done yet. We're still looking at it. So,
okay.
And that's the way it is. That's it. That is the truth.
Okay. So then you guys, I know I've seen so many questions up there that are good. And I'm sorry, we're not trying to ignore any of them. We just wanted to kind of do this in a good flow. So for those of you who had good questions, I think it was, one of you had Allie 79, I think it was, had a really good one up there. And did Chris ever mention to you what his plan was after all of this was over, where he was going to say his family went?
Well, you know, he had planned on just leaving for work, killing them and leaving them for work and coming home and I guess finding them dead. But I think there's theories out there that I think could be right on. And this, again, is a theory. It's not what I'm saying it happened. He didn't talk a lot about that. But I do wonder if he had planned on possibly setting the house on fire. Because I do know originally he had planned on setting their bodies on fire out at 319. So to me, he must have had that thought already going in his head to plan on doing that when he got out there. But, you know, it got late. Things, you know, took longer than he thought they would. And he had to make some quick decisions. I don't think he had originally planned. I think he planned on his way out to 319 what to do. I don't think that he all along planned on putting the girls' bodies in the batteries. And of course, he couldn't put Shanann in there because, you know, she wouldn't have fit in the 8-inch hole. So I think the ground was harder than what he thought. He couldn't dig 3 graves in time and that type of thing.
That's exactly what
did he ever say why he didn't leave them at the house and why he took them to Survey?
Well, because the girls woke back up and they were freaking out about what was wrong with mommy. And at that point, I don't know why he didn't just take the time to kill them there. I don't know. But
I've said that too. That sounds so bad to say out loud, but because you're just like, why didn't you take the time to kill? I know it's a twisted way to have to say it, but I've thought the same thing. Like, even if it was just Bella, or if he was going to take them and kill them there anyway, I just don't understand. I guess it's, you know, I wouldn't understand it because I'm not in his head, but it's a weird thing. Why didn't he just do it right then?
I don't know, because you know what? At least then they would have died in the comfort of their own beds, their own home, with their mom close by. He purposely put those girls in different tanks, and in his thoughts, it was to get them as far away from Shanann as he could. It's almost like he killed the girls as to have one up on Shanann. It's ridiculous. It's totally a ridiculous thought process. But that is what he told me his thought. That might be in one of the letters that he said he put them in different tanks to get them as far away from Shanann as he could. That's just doesn't
Which
make
is
any
funny
sense.
because he actually says that he was upset that Frank Sr. says that in court.
Yeah.
He says that when Frank said like that had like he's telling the detectives in the February interview that that's not what he was doing. And then he turns around and says, yes, that is what I was doing. This is one of those whole, Chris Watts, you can't tell which one's the truth and which one isn't.
Right. I think the truth is he overstepped what he thought he was capable of doing. He killed Shanann. He was shaking and upset and just wanted to get out of there before he got caught. And that's just my opinion. I think that's what he did. He just got out of there as quick as he could, get all three of them and go. He knew that out at 319 he would be by himself, at least for a while, and gave him time to think a little bit.
So he has a plan that he's going to leave them all at the house. He's going to arrive back home. They're all going to be dead. And he's going to be like, oh no, my family's dead. And now I can just move on with NK and live happily ever after. So did he ever say when that plan changed to going to Survey 319, what did he plan on doing then about where his family went? What was he going to say?
Well, I think what he said that next morning that they were gone. He didn't know where they were at. I mean, he had to know. Had he been able to put Shanann in that tank, that's a different story. I would think it would have been harder for them to come up with where do they go. But having the girls in that tank, it was so easy for them to find Shanann buried there in that shallow grave. I mean, she was only like 8 inches in the ground, from
and you could see the disturbed dirt from the drone footage.
Right.
So that, and then him leaving the bags and the sheet out there left too much. I've always thought like he put them in there so nobody would ever find them.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I think, but they've said, I've read so many times, and you probably have heard it so many times too, that once they murdered someone, they like to talk about it. He liked talking about it. My husband saw him once. He went with me to see him one time, and my husband commented, I just can't believe how nonchalantly he talks about this. He said he's made a comment to me, with what I did to Shanann when I killed her. My husband was just so taken back. He just couldn't believe how easy it was for him. And he had never met my husband before or corresponded with him in any way. And yet he talked so freely about what he had done. So I think he liked the attention of it in the beginning of talking about it. That day on the porch, I think we all looked at him and thought, wow, dude, you are so guilty of this. But no one really knew what happened yet. And it was just on his face, the smirk, the smile, the whole thing. It was just like he was proud of himself for what he had done. So,
yeah.
Do you think he was proud of what he had done or proud of the attention that it brought him after?
Both. And proud at the time of thinking that he had outsmarted everyone. He didn't think he was going to get caught like he did so quickly. So,
he kind of gave himself up too. I mean,
yeah. He didn't ask for an attorney or do anything to try to, get out of it. He just kind of freely gave it all up.
It seems like there was some kind of fantasy thinking there. He doesn't seem based in reality, because looking from the outside, it was not realistic at all. But in his mind, maybe he thought that it was.
Yeah. This is very inappropriate, but I have to run and get my charging cord because I'm about to lose you guys. Can you give me 30 seconds? Okay.
Yes.
Sorry.
Go. It's fine. I've had to do that before. I've had to crawl out under my desk before to grab a charger and leave Felicia by herself to hold down the fort.
You might be able to still hear me. I don't know because I've got.
Still hear you.
I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So I was like bragging about how nice and warm it was.
Yes.
And now I'm like freezing. So I'm
Are
like,
you-
yeah, FYI.
Let me put on your reader. Okay, we're getting the next question up anyways. So
Lots of good questions.
yeah, I know. I was thinking as we were going to, and I hope we can highlight those. And then of course,
I don't
just
know why
like
our patrons ever want to be on a live with me. I just talk over all their questions.
you
Just like,
don't.
I just keep going because the new stuff comes up in my head, and I'm like, oh, I gotta ask that. I gotta come up with this.
No. So we've got Angela's question up next, and then we'll hit some more too.
Well, I don't think that the oxy was from her surgery, Angela. So I don't know. I just don't. From the get-go, we were under the impression that she was prescribed Percocet for her neck surgery, not oxy.
Yes.
And then it became it was about lupus. And I mean, I have family that has lupus. Many people online that have come into the groups and stuff have talked about having lupus, and none of them have been prescribed oxy, especially something along the lines of 80 milligrams for it.
Yeah, that's not that you would even be given. I know people that have had surgery, and myself given 5 milligrams or whatever, 80 or 40. No.
And that's pretty hardcore for somebody who hasn't had any. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just go from like no. I couldn't even take like a Norco or anything like Vicodin. I could take nothing like that. It would make me physically ill.
You can do a quick Google search and see that that's not realistic, and what it does if you don't have a tolerance, and quite a high tolerance at that level. Allie, you like Cherlyn's hair looks good?
Her hair does look good. It's all shiny.
Allie 79 says your hair looks good. Can you hear us okay? Is there a delay again? I'm hoping my Wi-Fi isn't acting up like it was when we started.
Oh no.
I knew that was going to happen. I felt it. We had so many problems, guys, before we started. We had 30. I know everyone wants to blame me because it's usually my fault. But true story, Teresa can attest to it. I was only 10 minutes late. The rest of it was her Wi-Fi. And so we switched over.
She said that her Wi-Fi has been really bad all day. So
yeah. So I'm hoping to come back on. I will see if we can do that.
I'm like, I would be happy to answer the questions, but I don't know most of these answers.
We can answer your questions.
We can just start trying to just wing it and see what happens.
Right.
I'm sorry, guys.
Sorry. I mean, I'm glad that we got an hour and 14 minutes out of it, because I was worried. We started, and then after we had the problems, we had like a 25-second delay, and those are more annoying than bad internet, because you ask a question and then we all sit here like, and then talk over each other. So
okay, yeah, so most of the patrons are like, okay, Teresa, you're asking the questions we're thinking. So it's like, thank you for allowing my fingers to be lazy.
So I'm hoping I just texted her to see if she can come back on, and I'm going to guess that she will. We did this a couple times before we started. But again, following up on that question, yeah, the milligram is not right. It doesn't fit with that storyline. I personally do not believe that at all, and never have.
And so, and the other thing is, okay, so he Googles 80 milligrams. So let's just think about this. And if they had, let's just say they had 5 milligrams of oxy, so like that's how many pills were left in the bottle. So he's going to do all of them. I mean, I don't like, how does that make, like, I don't know, that Google search doesn't make sense to me then.
Right. Yeah, I don't think, and plus, if I remember correctly, she's trying to get back on, she says. If I remember correctly, I believe that was cleared up too. I believe that he did, correct me if I'm wrong, say that, I mean, I know that it's been gone back and forth, but that, I don't think that came from a valid source. He was called and asked that, but that doesn't match up with what he originally said. So I hate when people act like we're stupid, because that's not what. I
don't want to give him any excuses either, but here's the thing. The guy's in prison. He only knows what's happening on the outside from the people that are telling him from the outside. Right. So depending on what story he's being told.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes. There she is. Yay.
Yay. I was like, oh, God. Oh, okay.
I'm back on.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you, Melissa.
Sorry about
So,
that.
No, it's okay.
Thank you, Andrea. Excellent point. If you look at Andrea's comment up there, thank you. That is correct. So we talked about that one, and now we're on Kay's. Let's see. Oh, did he ever talk about anything that would explain NK's ping in Frederick the morning of the murders?
Uh-oh.
The internet is just not liking us today. It just isn't. I can answer that question. If you want my opinion, but that's not why you're here. So you're going to end up getting my opinions on these things, our opinions. Ask Vanessa, Teresa.
We were supposed to be able to ask questions, and then we got to ask Teresa and Vanessa.
Right. Oh, boy. We do that every Wednesday. Okay, well, I'll answer this from our standpoint. The source that we had, direct source that talked to Chris, and we did have them ask that specific question. His response was he had no idea. But do I believe that response? No. But that's what our response was when we got that back. And what was that? Maybe 6 months ago? No. How many months ago?
I don't even know. Time is hard, Vanessa. I don't know.
Time is hard, Teresa. Maybe I think it was like 6 months ago, something like that.
So the other day somebody was asking me a question about like when I did something, and I was like, I don't know, I think it was last year, maybe it was the year before. I'm like, I don't know, man. Time is hard. It's like I'm gonna steal Vanessa's line for the rest of my life because time is hard.
It is very hard for me, but it's not my fault tonight, thank God. Most of the time I gotta own that. She's still trying to get back on. Let's see. Okay, and then I don't know if there's any. Hold on, I'm messaging her right now. Sorry, you guys. She's trying to get back on right now. She says, "We love your opinions." I mean, if nothing else, I do think she was doing a drive-by. I don't. And now we've talked about this before, and I think Teresa said it best, and she said that is some crap luck. If that's all that was going on there that she was doing, that is some horrible luck. Like
the day that she chooses to drive by and check on her boyfriend just happens to be the same morning. And it also happens to be the morning after the 111-minute conversation that nobody can remember. Right. I don't know. That doesn't add up to me. There's something that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think it's a big thing that's all interwoven. And if maybe he talks about certain things, it all starts to unravel. Okay, maybe, but she's clocking again. So to keep my expectations low here. Man, StreamYard. You get scared, Allie79?
Okay, I'm back, I think.
I can hear you. Okay.
Yeah, this time it says it's StreamYard's problem. So
ooh,
I don't know.
Blame back on Vanessa.
It's totally fine.
No, it's perfect right now. So let's
can you hear me at all?
We can hear you perfect. You can hear us okay?
Hang on.
Don't push too many buttons.
Don't go anywhere. Okay, let's get the.
Can you hear me good?
At least. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. You don't have to see me, right?
No.
Okay. You don't have to see me, right? We can just.
No, hearing you is better than having you go away for sure. Let's see. So next one.
So let's go back to the other question. Cherlyn, did Chris ever mention to you why NK's phone pinged in Frederick the morning of the murders?
Okay. Okay. Let's.
Uh-oh.
Can you hear us?
Why do I think it did?
Did he ever tell you why it did?
Hello?
Uh-oh.
There's a delay.
Did
No,
Chris ever tell
he
you?
didn't.
Okay.
He didn't tell me why. He didn't know that. See, there's some things that I would ask him that because of him being in prison, he had no idea.
And when you were talking to him, he didn't have the discovery yet? Nobody had sent it to him?
Did you hear me?
Mm-hmm. There's a delay. You guys gonna have to like sing to yourselves for 20 seconds each time. She's taking a Vanessa sip of wine. Probably.
Oh, there she is.
I don't have any wine tonight, Allie 79. I wish I did.
It's not Wednesday.
It's not Wednesday. I'm trying to be good after Christmas.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Unfortunately, I believe there's a delay. So, and then, yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's okay. I don't know what we can do besides what we did before we started, which is if you just go out and come back again or go back to data. I don't know. How did we fix it the first time?
Her husband fixed it.
Oh, that's right. It was just in time for the third person question too.
I was.
Can you see the comments to read them back? We'll try that way.
Oh, we could do that.
I don't see the comments.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, then
I'm wondering if you just call her and you can ask her the questions. If we can't get her back on StreamYard, you just call her on the phone and then you can ask her the questions. I don't know if that would work.
Yeah, we could try that. You guys, it's better than nothing, right? Barbara and Melissa with autograph copy.
Oh no, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask her to call me. Okay, hang on, guys.
That's
not gonna work. That's not gonna work. Hold on. I just texted you. And Kristen. And Kay put a dark spell on the interview. Okay. I just check your phone.
Did you just mouth that?
Yes, I was like, check your phone.
That's funny.
Check your phone.
All right, I'll be right back.
Great. Everybody leave. Perfect.
You got this, Vanessa.
Leave Vanessa. That's fun. We'll play a drinking game. Lord, you're getting out your sage and garlic. I don't know. I think it's going to take a little bit more than that. Well, this was fun. At least we got some in. I don't know. I'll see if she can call me. I will do speaker that way. Other than that, okay, maybe she just checked my text and I could put her on speaker and we can ask that way. I know she's frozen. She's frozen and Teresa's like taking shots or something off camera. Let's play a game. Never have I ever. Courtney, yes, I will. I think I'm going to make a video about it. I don't even have any wine tonight, so I can't even play a drinking game. I'm drinking water, so. Okay. Let's see if she'll call me. We can try it that way. Other than that, you guys, I don't see a way around it besides that would be my last ditch effort. And then we could always put the questions together and I could send them to her, or we could try to do a Q&A tomorrow and just have this part. It'll be in 2 parts instead of a big long one. That might be the best option at this point since they both bailed on me. Yes, Shannon, I think I will. All right. Oh, she's back. Okay. Her device isn't connected. I wish now, see, this is the night I don't have wine, and I wish that I did. Okay. Hold on. All right. Is that any better?
Hello?
Hi.
Can you girls hear me? I can't hear you.
I can hear
But
you perfectly.
I see you.
Yep, I can hear you perfectly. Is there still a delay? Dial a bottle. Let's see. I'm just gonna, let's see. Do you want me to call you, or
I
do
can
you want
hear
to
you
do the second
perfectly now.
part? Oh, you can?
I don't know.
Hallelujah. Finally.
The second.
I still wonder if there's a delay. I'm about to get on Drizzly. Don't you worry, Debbie. Don't you worry about that. So, Cherlyn, do you want me to call you on the phone and we can answer that way, or do you want to try to do the Q&A tomorrow?
What is it now?
Do you want me to call you on the phone and ask you the questions on speaker, or do you want to? Could you do a quick 30-minute Q&A tomorrow night?
Call
Which
her.
one would you prefer? Okay. Just gonna be like, why is she calling me? Hopefully you're not on your phone.
Well, I think it'll be easier that way.
Annie, your schedule's busy. You were planning on walking upstairs tomorrow. Well, maybe you could fit us in just like 30 minutes after your walking upstairs schedule.
I say just call and see if we can.
I'm calling. Okay. All right, Cherlyn, can you hear me? I'm calling. They're like, call, but I'm calling.
I don't know. There's a delay.
I know you have a delay. Let's just do this on the phone. Goldschlagers. I don't have any. Okay, Cherlyn, can we do it this way? Okay, why don't we just do it on speaker this way, and we can ask you the questions and you can answer. I'll turn it up and put it by the laptop. All right, here we go. I've got her on the phone.
Should we fix the background? I feel all weird.
Well, I know it's usually you that messes it up. Hold on one second, Cherlyn.
Okay.
Just joking. Okay. We're going to change it up real quick. Look all nice and pretty. Freaking technology. All right.
Did everybody watch the outtakes?
Oh,
That's
yeah,
what I want to know. Did everybody watch the outtakes? Dude, I was crying with those
It's
outtakes.
only on the top 2 tiers I put that video on, but
Oh my gosh, dude.
that's really funny. If you haven't watched them, you should watch them. Okay. All right, we're back to the questions. We just have a few more. All right, everybody, you got her on the phone.
All right.
Andrea's question was, did Chris ever tell you who the third person in their relationship was per NK's Google searches?
The threesome, you mean?
Yes, the threesome.
As far as I remember about that, I don't have that in a letter or anything, but there was a friend of hers that came around, and as far as I know, that's who the third person was. But it wasn't Jim.
Okay, it was not Jim. I think that was the...
Was it a female?
Was it a female or a male?
A male. It was a male.
Hmm.
Interesting. But not Jim.
No. It was someone from the area there that she was friends with. She had a group of a dozen friends that she hung out with a lot. That's where a lot of the weird things went on. In her apartment or her house, whatever, that he refers to. And it was one of those people. There's a picture out. I don't know. I used to have it. It was sent to me actually by Cindy, and I don't know if anybody has seen it. NK with that group friends, like us, and they all had gotten together. Have you seen that one?
The picture of NK with a bunch of her friends that's more recent. Teresa, have you seen that one?
The recent though, I think the most recent ones I've seen are 2000.
I mean, recent, but it was since the murder.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I think Teresa has. The one after the murders.
I don't think I've seen a picture of her after the murders.
Oh, maybe we didn't. So the comments are cracking me up. So Annie asked Cherlyn, do you think Chris will come up with more information to get more attention later?
No, I think if he comes forward at this point, it's going to be lies about trying to get out and try to get the 35C. I don't think it'll be anything of value at this point that he's going to come out with.
I agree.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree.
Even though I still don't think that he's told the truth or the whole truth. So help him God. I do not believe that he has told the truth.
I don't either.
I think that he's told a lot of parts of truth and a lot of bullshit.
I agree. Totally.
I do know that his I'll take it to my grave has to do with two different people, and NK is one of them.
Okay.
But I don't know what it is.
Okay. Leslie, do we have another one ready to go? Let's see. Yeah. Well, that's true. Yeah, no, I don't think we have the truth. And I don't think he was ever planning on giving that to us at all.
No.
Let's see. No, I don't know, Andrew. She says not Jim. I don't know any other man in the equation. And
I do. Yes, you do. You can think of one.
I can.
One that had an affair for a year.
Oh. What is that face?
I don't know.
Okay.
Self-entertainment. I don't know.
Okay. Killing me. Okay. What is your opinion on the NK baby rumors? Brittany would like to know.
Well, I for a while thought there was a baby because I had been sent pictures, and to be honest, the pictures even looked like Cece. But I have since found out that it's totally all rumors. There's no baby with NK.
That's interesting.
That is my understanding as well.
Well, we do know somebody in the family had a baby around that same time, but I think that
makes sense. She might have had a baby, but it just wasn't with Christopher. That's what I've been told. I don't have any proof of that, so that's just what I've been told.
Yeah.
That's the safest way to go, Cherlyn, is when it's theory or not proof, just state it. That's how I live. I'm like, this is my theory, and this is what I know for facts.
Yeah. I agree. Let's see. The next one is from Missy. She says, Cherlyn, you said in an interview that there was a big clue seen in a video months back and adds more light to the truth of the case. Is that still the case? I never heard that.
So there's a clue in the book?
There was a big clue seen in a video months back that adds more light to the truth of the case.
I'm sorry, you're going to have to repeat that.
It says that, yeah, it says, you said, can you expand on that, Missy? It says, you said in an interview that there was a big clue seen in a video months back that adds more light to the truth of the case. Is that still the case?
Do you know which video it was?
I don't. I'm having her put in follow-up information because that's actually one that I have not heard.
Yeah, I haven't heard a video. There's a clue in the book, but it isn't a video. It's a clue in the book.
Oh, you
Oh.
have a clue in the book?
There's a clue in the book that I put in there because I couldn't tell what that thing is, or that that the police are working on. So I put a clue, and
Oh.
thinking that somebody's going to figure it out with the clue.
Is that in both books
Interesting.
or just the new one? I don't know if she can hear me, Vanessa.
Is that in both of your?
Say? Try it again.
Okay. Is the clue in the new book or both of them?
No, the new book.
Oh.
Book, and it's a clue, and we've actually hit on it more than one time. So, I mean, it's there. It's like I told someone on a YouTube video the other night, sometimes things can be in front of your face and you still can't see it. And that's kind of this thing right here. It's there. It's been hit on, but it's not, and it's not something that I can say right now.
Okay. So
Yeah, I don't remember. I watched the interviews you've done, and I don't remember there being any mention of a video. But I could totally be wrong, Missy.
No,
I don't know if you can clarify that, because I do remember. I mean, I remember saying that there'll be something in the book, but I don't remember it being about a video. So that's the only thing that I think is throwing us off, is because I don't remember a video.
mhm.
I don't. I would have to be refreshed on what video they're talking about.
Okay. So that's interesting. All right. So I can't. So you heard it here first. There's an Easter egg in the book. Just kidding. Exclusive. You heard here first. There's an Easter egg, y'all. Okay. So, let's see.
Oh, Amanda asked, are there any theories out there on social media that hit the nail on the head? Like, has somebody said this theory already that is...
Yes. It's an older theory. Yes.
Okay, let's see.
Can I spin for a letter?
I can't say more.
No, don't say more. You're good.
Melissa and Barbara would like autographed copies of the book. I see you, Melissa. I will text her.
I'm happy to autograph books if people want to pay postage. I'm happy to autograph it. That they have to pay both way postage.
Okay, did you get that, Melissa and Barbara? Okay, so now Angela's going to go back through it and look. Hey, Angela, when you find it, will you let me know? I'll have to go back to. Let's see. Taylor Swift cryptic, exactly. Let's see. Any other questions before she has to go? Sorry, the last part was so rough.
Did he ever admit to any drug use outside of Thrive?
Outside of what?
Thrive.
No. Other than the drink that he was given, which now he denies, but I'm not the only person he told that to. Actually, he told that to several different people, and I guess has forgotten that she made him a drink, and sometimes in the evening when they were at her apartment, and he didn't know what was in it. But he would have periods of time when he would lose, like, I don't want to say lose conscious, because he wasn't unconscious, but he would, like, zone out kind of, and he would come back and he didn't know what had happened for that few minutes or whatever.
Okay.
And so there may have been drugs in that drink, but he didn't know.
Which that drink has been around for a while. So the different people have been told about this drink that he's spoken to, and almost everybody gets a little bit of a different story. Some he's told it's just kombucha or kombucha tea. Other people he said that it was there was something else in the tea, like a crystal in the tea. Then there was nothing in the tea. Then there was he didn't know what was in the tea. So there was apparently a tea that nobody knows anything about what was in it.
I first learned about that drink from his sister, and then I had to ask him about it. So then when he told me about it,
What happened?
I don't know.
Oh no.
She cut out. I'm thinking we're gonna have to just I'm gonna ask her tonight if she can do maybe a 30-minute just Patreon Q&A tomorrow. Because I think it's just would be easier that way. I think it's too hard.
Is she still
You know what I mean?
connected?
Yeah, she's still on the phone. I just can't hear her.
You can't hear me?
Oh no, you can.
Well, now
You're
we can.
back. Okay.
Oh, that's weird.
You just went dead for a minute. It cut off mid-sentence. So
I'm trying to go back to what it was.
mhm.
Loris's Teresa's laugh is my favorite. It makes me laugh every time, and I don't even know what we're laughing about. Half the time I don't either. That's the funniest shit right there.
A couple people have asked, have you had any pushback after the first book? Did you get any pushback from NK or her attorneys?
No. Mm-mm.
No.
Not at all.
Yes, Lauren, I know. But tonight it wasn't me, I promise. Ask Teresa. Okay, let's see. Miranda had that tomorrow. I don't know. No, Annie, you don't have to wear pants on these. So I know that you're on the way because you'd said you had a time constraint anyways, and you were on the way to the birthday party that you need to go to. Do you want to just wrap up with a couple questions? And then if there's still a lot of people that have any more questions, we could maybe do something small tomorrow.
It depends on what time. Tomorrow's my dad's birthday. We have a lot of December,
Yeah.
January birthdays, and tomorrow's my dad's birthday. He turns 90 tomorrow, so I have to definitely leave it open for him. But if it can be done earlier, then I could go on for a few minutes. But yeah, I just hopped in my car since I couldn't get you guys back on video. I just went ahead and hopped in the car to drive out to my I'm 2 hours, 5:30. I'm 2 hours late for the birthday party.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, no. Yeah,
Okay.
go.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we? Well, I'll text you later, and we'll work something out, and we can work around your time frame, in the next day or two, and just finish up the Q&A. We appreciate your time, and
I'm
tonight.
very sorry about the video problems. I don't know what's going on with that. So
Oh, there's nothing you can do about it. It's been like this since we started. I'm glad we got what we did, and then you guys.
yeah,
I'll talk to her and see what we can work out, and or some of your questions too, and we'll see if we can maybe wrap this up in a separate thing. But I appreciate your time, Cherlyn. We'll let you
all
go.
right. Well, thank you.
All right. Have a good night.
Thanks to everyone.
Thank you,
All right.
Cherlyn.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Bye.